There goes that man's jockstrap.
Oh my God, did you see that? America's team? Yeah, right.
Oh, baby, it's a big day in sports. There's nothing like battling it out with your teammates all season long to go win a championship. Green Bay's got it this year. Huge move for them. I think it's going to be a game changer.
We have a lot to talk about this busy week in the sports world. Welcome to the In a League of Their Own podcast. The In a League of Their Own podcast is brought to you by Canadips. Canadips is a CBD pouch crafted and manufactured in Humboldt, California. I like Canadips because it keeps me calm, and it can be a good alternative for anyone looking to stop smoking or chewing. One of my personal favorites is Tangy Citrus. You can find the rest of their kick-ass lineup of products at canadips.com and use code LeagueOfTheirOwn15 for 15% off your order. Happy Friday. Hello, my good sir.
Happy Friday, even though I got to fucking work tomorrow, but it is what it is. Excited to be here to do the episode.
Yeah, a action-packed weekend, especially in the NFL department, which is where we're starting with our content for today. My first question for you here. With signs pointing to Aaron Rodgers winning his second consecutive MVP, if Derrick Henry had stayed healthy for a full season and surpassed the 2,000-yard mark for his second straight season, would you say he'd be a more deserving MVP this year?
I'm still going to say no, just because it is a quarterback league now. Maybe 5 years ago, back when the last Adrian Peterson, I think, will be the last non-quarterback to win it, I think. Just due to how all the rules have transformed. It's all about scoring points. Running backs, their careers don't even last that long for the most part anyway. So I feel like he just met his expectations. I feel like everybody expects Derrick Henry to do what he does, where Rodgers, his case with being without his receivers and most of his defense for a lot of the year, the game in Arizona, I feel like he's made his case very strongly. And especially with the number one seed again, like going back to back, like I feel like nobody thought the Packers should be in the number one seed spot at the beginning of the year, just due to how Tampa's bringing everyone back. LA, look what they did. Like Packers were an afterthought, and for them to be the number one team, home field advantage again, I feel like this would be Aaron Rodgers, even if Derrick Henry ran for 2,000 yards. But you can't argue that he could arguably one of the greatest running backs to ever play, just due to his size and speed.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Again, it's a shame that his season got cut short, and even he's at 40 yards short of 1,000-yard season. So it sucks that even though he's been practicing this week, it looks like he's not going to see the field until the playoffs. So he's going to be a little short of 1,000-yard season. But yeah, I agree. And again, adding to that equation as well, a non-quarterback position that's been playing well this year. Cooper Kupp, again, looking like he's going to get the triple crown of catches, yards, touchdowns for receivers, which hasn't been done in almost 2 decades. The fact that he's doing that this year, having the production he has, somewhat in the bubble of the conversation for MVP, but nobody's really talking about him. So again, kind of adding to that, to where no matter how good of a season you have as a receiver, running back, defensive back, edge rusher, breaking records, having an amazing season, like TJ Watt, for another instance, he's going to be chasing a single season sack record this weekend. I think he only needs 1.5 or 2 sacks to break it or tie it. He's not really in the conversation for MVP. So it's like, again, just adding to kind of what you were saying, it's a quarterback league. Every year we see more and more air attack. There's really only 2 or 3 teams that you'd consider a run first team. Again, the Titans being one of them, but even still, for MVP, again, another point to add, this just popped in my head now. Look at what the Titans are doing without Derrick Henry. They're the 1 seed in the AFC. Remove Aaron Rodgers from the Packers, not a chance. So, again, that's a definition of MVP. Again, who knows what kind of season Derrick Henry would have had, but without him, the Titans have done well enough to, again, get that 1 seed in the AFC.
Yeah, and since we're speaking of the Titans, I do think Vrabel should get Coach of the Year. I think he's well deserving of it for that reason. Tannehill's been an average quarterback at best for the most of his career. They lose their number one running back. They lose their number one wide receiver for a handful of games. Julio's in and out. They've had the most players on their active roster this year with people coming and going, and they're still the number one seed, like 1 win away from being right there. So I feel like that's very impressive, and you don't have a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers at the helm. For you to be in that position, I see they're the only team outside of the Patriots that are in this final. I guess you could say the Eagles too, besides the Eagles and the Patriots, that don't have a bona fide for sure quarterback. Like, this is their guy who is a known, proven guy. I feel like Mac Jones, it's going to be his debut. Burrow, it's going to be his day. A lot of these young guys who are very good are going to get their, I guess, debuts here in the postseason, which is going to be another amazing add-on to this crazy playoffs. This is the best, I think, playoff as far as all these teams. Every team, I feel like, could be any team. Like, there's no for sure this team's winning the Super Bowl like there has been in years past, which is awesome.
Yeah, because like last year, it looked like
the Chiefs were getting there.
Yeah, on the AFC side, it's like, all right, the Chiefs are going to another a second consecutive Super Bowl. On the NFC side, it's like, okay, it's going to be Packers or Bucks. The role that the Bucks went on, it's like, okay, after taking down Aaron Rodgers at Lambeau and then getting the Super Bowl at home, first team to ever win a Super Bowl at home, it was like all the signs were pointing to those two teams meeting in the Super Bowl. Like this year, obviously, Packers and like Rams are the kind of two teams I'm leaning out of the NFC. AFC side, Titans, Chiefs. But even still, like you said, any of these teams can beat anybody. But rather than, okay, it's this team and this team, there's really 2 or 3 teams from each side that are like, okay, they have all the pieces they need, and they could easily go win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely. And then my first question here, tying into the last week of the season here, if you were a head coach and you already have the playoffs locked up, say you're the Packers, you already have home field, do you play your guys the last week of the season?
So I'll answer this 2 different ways. If you're the 1 seed, if you have the 1 seed locked up, I say yes.
Yeah, I'm asking you as the 1 seed.
As a 1 seed, okay, then yes, I would. But not everybody. It's like I'd say like Rodgers, Adams, maybe Aaron Jones. Like, you're really your top 4 or 5 guys that have the most value on your team, the ones that you lean on the most, maybe some of your guys who are banged up. But at the same time, like, because again, there's like why I said I'm going to answer this 2 different ways. There's yes to rest them and like make them healthy for the playoffs, but also at the same time, we've seen this before as Packers fans. For example, their 15-1 season after the Super Bowl, they rest all their guys the last week of the season. Divisional round, they shit the bed to the Giants and get knocked out in their first game of the playoffs. Whether that's because the guys are rusty, a little slow coming out. So that's the case I'd make for the other side of, if you rest the guys this week, you're now looking at a week and a half, 2 weeks of these guys being off the football field. Yes, you skip the wild card round, but also any teams that are coming hot off the wild card round, you might have to play that team in the divisional round. So you might come out sloppy for the first couple drives, first quarter, first half, which you can't have. Yeah, you can't have in the playoffs. You can really have 1 or 2 drives where you're sandbagging a little bit, but a full quarter or even a full half in the playoffs, good luck. And that's kind of what happened to the Packers last year, NFC Championship. Came out sloppy in the first half, gave up that big touchdown to end the half, and that was the difference maker. And along with a couple other bad play calling again on that 4th and 7 or 4th and 8 from the in the red zone right at the end of the game there. I don't know. It's like I said, like you can again, you flip the coin. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Just as far as keeping guys healthy, it's hard to go one way or the other though. But I mean, it makes sense for because what the Packers they said or the floor came out and said the starters are going to be playing either anywhere from a quarter to the first half, somewhere in there of the game. I think that's what he said, but which I think is good. I think it's a good hybrid. Have the guys play a little bit. Don't give them the complete week off. But again, damned if you do, damned if you don't. I say it's always 2020 with these kind of calls that you have to make.
Yeah, see, I'm in the position where I would never even think about the rest part of it anyway. If you're gonna rest a guy, you can rest him rest him a day of practice, give him a day off for practice. Game time, game speed. There's nothing like that compared to playing in the game. Even though it is the postseason, yeah, your practices are getting a little bit more intense, but you're more worried about the fundamentals, the basics, so you could just go play. And I'd play him 3/4, literally play him 3/4. And no matter where the game is at after 3, you turn over to your backups and you let them finish out the 4th quarter. Let them get a full quarter of NFL experience. For a lot of these guys, you probably haven't played a lot during the year. Let them get their feet wet. Let's Jordan Love. Let's see what he can do. Maybe even Rodgers' case, maybe even half for him. But at the same time, I feel like Jordan Love should also be taking reps when Devontae Adams is out on the field, Lazard's out on the he needs to be taking snaps when you have some of these top guys out there because the Rodgers question, you can't ignore that. You know what I mean? Like you can't just be like, we'll focus on the next offseason. It's just like, why don't we get an indication right now against a team who's gritty? They're gonna play hard, the Lions. They're not gonna give up and roll over. So let's see what he can do in a competitive game. You know, see what the kid can do. Like you lose, big deal.
Yeah.
You know, like there's nothing to be down about.
Win, lose, or tie, it doesn't change anything.
More exactly, except for maybe even more assuring, like, is this the guy?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is this the guy after the who we currently have? Is he like a Rodgers type situation, which you don't know until he gets out there and gets to play.
Yeah.
Preseason, you can't speculate. Chiefs game, I wouldn't even count that as a game. Just because he didn't even have that much time to prepare, take reps with the team. Like, it was a throw you in, kid. Here you go. Against the Chiefs, who are, look at where they're at now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he played better than Mahomes that day. It's
like,
this guy could be the next guy.
Yeah. I was going to say, too, in that game, he kind of came alive in the 4th quarter to where it's like, oh, you can see the rookie, like the not quite the zip on the ball of Aaron Rodgers, not quite the decision making, the checking at the line, things like that. 4th quarter comes around and it's like, shit, they have a chance to win this game. He's making good throws. He's making good decisions to where if he can take that confidence he built from that Chiefs game and apply it to 3 quarters, 2 quarters, whatever he ends up playing this Sunday, like you said, it'd be a good indication of what does our future look like in Green Bay beyond Aaron Rodgers. Whether, again, after this season, after 2 seasons, after 3 more seasons, he's not going to stick around forever. You got to have an idea of what your future is going to look like eventually. Where is Jordan Love our guy? Do we need to go after another quarterback in this year's draft, next year's draft?
And I think it could be Jordan Love to be our next guy because, like what Rodgers has said multiple times, unless you're in the room with a guy who is of that level and get to study how he does things, ask the questions, you'll never get to be that guy unless you've been around the presence of what that feels like to be like around that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, look at all the great quarterbacks. They've been superseded. They've came up behind a guy who, it's not just oh shit, this guy just came out of complete left field. We never saw this. You know what I mean? So that's the gift and the curse being a quarterback coming into this league, because being a super talented player, you're going to a shittier team. more likely than not off the rip. And
Mhm.
Joe Burrow is he reminds me of a young Rodgers, able to just transition and turn that team kind of around. Like he
Mhm.
is their guy, like their leader, like Rodgers, it seems like is ours.
For sure. Yeah, and then my last NFL question here for you then. Of the NFC teams right now that have currently clinched a playoff spot, so the Packers, Rams, Bucks, Cowboys, Cardinals, Eagles, which of these 6 teams will not be back in the postseason next year? Whether it's 1, 2, which of these teams aren't going to make it? Because again, history has shown every year there's turnover. Teams that haven't made it make it. Teams that have made it don't make it.
I'm gonna say the Bucks. I don't think they get back next year. That's it, I think. I think every team returns except for the Bucks. Just because Saints are a quarterback away, Falcons are a quarterback away. Like that division's tough. And there's only one team getting out of that division just due to how the West is. Like there's no arguing about that. So I'm gonna say the Bucks.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a lot tighter of a race in that South. I agree with you with that. The team I'm kind of eyeing up though on this list, the Rams, for one reason, and that's Matthew Stafford kind of getting exposed here towards the end of the season. Multi-interception games, pick sixes in 2 or 3 straight games. The offense seems kind of out of sorts at times. And next year, who knows if again OBJ is just to the end of the year? Do they get him back? The running back situation, is Cam Akers the real deal? Are they going to lean on the run game more? Again, on the defensive side, Von Miller, are they going to keep him? There's turnover on every team. Are they able to keep that core foundation of guys? Obviously, Aaron Donald, I feel like they give their arm and leg to keep him. But I don't know. I think that like with flying colors, how the season started for the Rams, I don't think they get that next year. I could see them have a losing record through week 5 or 6, and they struggle for the whole season next year and don't get back to the postseason. Which again, in the West, 49ers, do they get a full season out of Jimmy G? If they do, they could be at the top. Trey Lance steps in. Who knows what he's got? Seattle, they have one down year. They rebuild around Russ and try to get back. Cardinals.
Yes, I feel like Seattle's the long shot. I feel like they need to rebuild a lot more than just like their defense is completely in shambles.
Yeah.
Like ever since they lost that Legion of Boom, dude, their team has just went down the shithole because of all they did was load up on offense, give Russ weapons, let Russ cook. He doesn't get to play defense. He doesn't get to play special. He only gets 33% of the game is in his hands. Like, and that's why I think the Rams do get in next year is because he's turned it over 15 times this year, which is tied for the most with Josh Allen, 15 picks. Look at their team, still in the playoffs, still in a good position. Like somehow they've been able to win, even though he's played like absolute garbage, which is scary because if he plays absolute lights out and you get that same, there ain't a team that's Green Bay ain't even gonna beat him if that's what we get.
Yeah, if we get the Rams team that played the Bucks, was that week 3, week 4? That's probably.
And OBJ now though. And they get their running back. Like they're a full loaded team, and it's all dictated on their quarterback. Like it's in his hands, and this is his moment to prove. Is he just the guy who throws for 5,000 yards every year, and can't lead your team to a victory in the playoffs with a loaded team? Or is this the guy that everybody knew who he was in Detroit and wasted his whole career there, and now he wants his chance to see if he can go 1, 2, 3, 4, how many Super Bowls he can get before it's enough for him?
Yeah.
He's definitely probably one of the toughest quarterbacks that's ever played.
Oh,
He
yeah.
reminds me of Brett Favre, and he has so many people's respect, and I feel like everybody's curious to see what Matt Stafford we're going to get here when the lights are huge.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, the NFC West is one of those divisions where if there's a division to ever have all 4 teams make the playoffs, I'd put my money on the West. But again, it all just depends on next year, who they can bring back. If they're not unable to bring back OBJ, Von Miller, some of these guys they picked up, like I said, I think that they could miss out. If they do, I mean, obviously the script could be different, but yeah, I mean, out of the rest of these teams, I mean, as much as I like the Cowboys, you're in the NFC East, so it's not that hard to. All you got to do is win your division and you're in. Whether you're, what are they, 12-3 or whatever they are now, or they're 6-10, they could win the division. So,
and the Giants are a couple years out, I feel like, from being a relevant team. Washington, your quarterback, and a healthy defense away from being right where you were last year, and the Eagles are up and coming. So that's another division we could see 3 teams potentially sneak in next year.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'd exclude the Giants from that just because, again, they've committed to Daniel Jones and Joe Judge for 1 more year, which, I mean, good for them. They get paid millions to make those decisions. I don't. If it works out for them, cool. If it doesn't, they put another year in the shitter.
And what is 1 season? Is that week 1 they look absolute trash and they're gone?
Yeah, that's true.
Nobody knows
yeah,
the
nothing's
extent
guaranteed.
of no. And that's what is very interesting about sports too, especially playing it, is that you understand that nothing is guaranteed at all. Especially when you get to that level where everybody's got the talent. Everybody has worked hard enough to get to this point. But what separates that little tiny little bit is everything in the world. It's the attention to detail. It's the littlest thing that makes all the difference in the world. And that's why it's so funny when you see a wide receiver get wide open. It's just like, how did and then you watch the play that actually happened. It was just one little tiny little. And that's all it takes is the biggest difference in the world, especially the game of football.
Yeah, for sure.
Then my last question for you, who gets the last wild card spot? Do the Niners hold on, or do they blow that and do the Saints capitalize? Becoming the first team in NFL history with 4 different starting quarterbacks to make the postseason.
The 49ers would be?
The Saints would be.
Or the Saints. Yeah. Because, 49ers.
Niners lose, Saints win, Saints in.
Yeah, but 49ers win, it's locked up no matter what. And this 49ers play the Rams, correct?
Correct.
I think the 49ers hang on, but with a loss. Rams lose to the 49ers. Falcons play spoiler and beat the Saints to hold them out of the postseason. That's what I think is going to happen. Kind of out there, bold prediction, but I just got a feeling that the Saints are just not going to get it done. And Matt Ryan, and who knows, maybe his last game, do they move on from him? He balls out and gets 1 more win at home.
All right. I think the Saints hold on and win, and then they will turn around and get to play the Rams the first week of the season. I feel like this Saints team, how in the hell have they still hung on to this point?
Yeah.
Like, look at the disaster that they've went through. Michael Thomas out. You lose your starting quarterback week 7. It's just like
Kamara's out 3-4 weeks.
Your season looks completely done and over, but that defense, You sweep the Bucks. You beat the Packers. Like, they've beaten good teams. Their defense is top 5 defense in the league. Their quarterback play is the only question mark to me. I don't think Atlanta is going to sniff their jockstrap this weekend. Their net points is god awful. They're minus 136 on the year, and the Saints are plus 19. I feel like the Saints they're not going to let this one slip away. And I feel like the Rams are just going to roll San Francisco. Because it's all forms go for everybody, but the Packers are, well, NFC side, Packers are the only team that has even mentioned anything about some of their guys sitting out. Because every team wants to get on that roll. Every team wants to get the momentum building now.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the top. Packers and Rams, both on 5-game winning streaks. Eagles are on a 4. Those are huge momentum carriers if you can continue that through the end of week 18, now into the playoffs. Like, that's huge.
Yeah.
Other side, that's kind of a different situation because you have Bengals, I know, are resting players. That Burrow, Chase, Mixon, those guys, they're not playing. Bills, they're sitting their guys as well. Colts, they need to win.
Why would they sit their guys? Because they have a chance for the 1 seed.
Bengals don't give a shit where they end up.
Huh.
That's basically what they said.
Well,
they're in, they're locked in. They literally don't give a piss about what happens because they want Joe Burrow to be 100% ready to, full health. Because he one hit, like he's not like he's got a track record of being hurt,
mm-hmm.
where some of these other quarterbacks don't. Like, I feel like the Chiefs, they're obviously gonna try to win because they want home field. Titans, they ain't gonna let home field, I think, get away. Colts, that's a tough game for them. And then like the Chargers Raiders situation, how they sit there. But the Bengals, another reason why I feel like they also want to let it slip is Bills in New England would be in a rematch, I believe, at that point. So
Yeah. Well, plus for the Bengals, they need the Titans and the Chiefs to lose to get the 1 seed.
Right, and that ain't happening.
Yeah. But yeah, then on the NFC side, like you said, these teams have a lot to play for. The Rams, Bucks, because the higher you are in those seeds, nobody wants to go play in a cold Lambeau. So if you're the 2 or the 3 seed, chances are you don't see the Packers until the NFC Championship. But the farther you fall down that seed ranking, you might have to play Green Bay in that divisional round. So everybody wants to be the highest seed possible on the NFC side right now, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, Cowboys, they're struggling. They need to get their shit together. They're going to get steamrolled game 1 of the postseason. So,
what are the Cowboys doing? Because they're a lock at the 4 seed, win or lose.
I haven't heard anything on what they're doing yet.
Because I know there's that question mark of him being healthy all year to where was that hamstring or no calf injury? I can't remember. That game that Cooper Rush played, because is that still 100% healthy? Who's banged up?
Everybody's banged up, obviously, at this point, but it's how bad.
Yeah. But also it makes sense now without Michael Gallup. Whoever the next guy up is for that team, do they want to get some quality reps in with them to see, all right, who's going to be our number 3 guy this postseason?
Well, and you're playing the Eagles, so you might turn around and play the Eagles right away again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we could see a lot of these. I mean, last week of the season is always divisional matchups. We might see back-to-back weeks of divisional matchups from regular season to postseason, depending on, again, how all these seeds play out.
Yeah, because as it would stand, Rams would take on Philadelphia, Tampa would play the 49ers, Dallas and Arizona would play. But with the Eagles moving up, if San Fran loses and the Saints win, Saints fell into that last spot. Should be Saints, Rams, Eagles, Bucks, Cowboys, Cardinals. I feel like that's the only matchup that's for sure locked because it's 2 games separate. Unless the Rams or the Bucks lose, I don't know how would that, if the Rams lose, Cards win. Do Cards get the 2 and the Rams get the 5?
I want to say so. Hold on.
Yes. Yes, they would. Cardinals are 8-1. 4-1 non-conference. 7-4. No, we're just kidding. Rams would if there's a tie. They're 8-3 in the conference. 4-1 non-conference.
I was playing around with this a couple days ago. I'm pulling it up again. It's like a playoff machine generator to where you can pick if this team wins, if this team loses, what happens. So yeah. So right now, again, Rams are 2, Cardinals are 5. So if the Rams lose,
Cardinals win.
Cardinals win. Arizona moves to the 3. Los Angeles
Tampa
falls
2.
to the 5.
Yep.
Tampa at the 2.
2. Okay.
That's what would happen between those scenarios.
Yeah, dude. No. How about all the shit around Tampa right now?
Yeah, that's
Whole
unreal.
AB thing, and then did you hear the latest stuff today?
With
how AB had a chick that he snuck into the hotel room.
I didn't hear that.
Yep, took a whole bunch of pictures and everything. I guess him and this chick, I guess she's a huge OnlyFans model. I guess they made like a porn video. And then now there's an outbreak of Shaq Barrett has COVID. And this chick took pictures and released all this stuff in McAfee on the show. He was like, how in the fuck would you even sneak somebody in there? Like, you have paid police officers, security guards at all of the fucking elevators, on all the stairs. Like, you ain't going anywhere. He's just like, matter of getting in. How are they getting them out?
Money talks. Slip a couple Benjamins, you didn't see shit.
Oh, dude, but during the whole, that makes this Tampa Bay team and the NFL's protocols just look like complete shit. Like, how they let this happen during COVID season.
This is just shit we see and hear about. Think of the stuff that goes under the radar that we never hear about until maybe 10, 20 years from now when they're retired and it doesn't mean anything. Oh yeah, this one season I did this, and they have immunity because it doesn't matter anymore.
I don't know. I feel like the NFL runs a pretty tight ship. Like, I feel like we've heard a lot of these stories in the past couple of years of players getting caught doing it. So to be successful at it and then to literally release it after and just blow up the team, being like, and now one person has COVID, and there's pictures of like where his players' rooms were, where certain guys had to go for certain meetings, and quarterbacks this way, running backs this way. Like, it was insane, just mind blowing that all this is going on while they're trying to salvage a Super Bowl, a back-to-back Super Bowl run after they just lost AB, who made that whole stink. But it did come out that he left the team. Like, he was pissed over them not guaranteeing his $1 million in his bonuses. He went into the office on like Tuesday or Wednesday and said, hey, I know I'm only 5 receptions this away from this. Could you please guarantee me my $1 million bonus? And they said, unfortunately, we don't do it that way here. Like, you got to earn it. Like, we're not just going to give it to you. And during the game, I guess he got super pissed. Brady started throwing the ball back to Gronk a lot after he was in the doghouse for his shit game that he had a few games ago. Now he's back getting the ball, and I guess he got super pissed that he got put in with some personnel that he didn't normally play with and said, fuck this, I'm done. Like, and Bruce Arians, he refused to go in, and Bruce was like, all right, dude, you're done. Just fuck this, I'm done. Like, all over, probably not getting paid the $1 million. And I guess he did make an appearance on a podcast today.
Yeah, Bob Menery's Full Send podcast. It was interesting to kind of hear his side of things, to where he has screenshot messages and proof of where Bruce Arians has said, I never knew anything about this ankle injury. He's making that up. He has screenshot messages of talking with Bruce Arians and talking with a trainer from the Bucks, talking about his ankle injury, saying, I don't know if I'll be able to go this week. And so there's apparently proof of.
Yeah, they already cleared all that up, though. Bruce Arians came out and said that he basically that he knew everything. It was a lawyer type speech that he gave, basically, of what he can say and what he can't say.
Yeah.
But yeah, that
It
whole
seems
thing, it's conduct detrimental. They're not going to have to end up paying him, and he's done.
Yeah.
Unless he gets picked up by 4:00 tomorrow, he won't be able to play the rest of this season.
Yeah. I mean, it seems fishy on both sides. Obviously, I'm leaning more towards the Bucks and Bruce Arians just with AB's track record. But at the same time, the things he said, he seems genuine. He has proof. He has screenshots of like conversations that happened that like are benefiting him. Again, anything can be fabricated nowadays, so who knows? But I mean, it's fishy on both sides. Like it could go either way. But I mean, obviously, just for credibility reasons, like the league slash Bucks, I feel like are going to come out ahead in this. But
yeah, I didn't get to hear any of it. People, from what the comments and stuff that I've heard about, is like he sounds like he needs help.
Yeah. I mean, I've only seen maybe 5 to 10 minutes of the episode myself, and like
a lot of what I said is like he can't even put full sentences together. He mumbles. He does a lot of this stuff. Like it seems like he's had a lot of fucking traumatic brain injuries to where
he's been
this
wearing
guy
those
needs help.
He's been wearing those like retro, like RoboCop looking sunglasses the last couple of days. So where it's like, is he on something? Is he?
Well, supposedly he shot a music video today.
Oh yeah, that's right. But like, is he on something? Does he have a concussion? Is he like trying to avoid light? Like what?
How bad does he have CTE?
Yeah.
Like go back to the Vontaze Burfict hit on him.
Yeah. That's what that was
That's
the
what
start.
started of all this.
Mm-hmm.
So, that like us joking kind of around here was just like that was the hit that's like seriously, that could have been the hit that fucks this guy's life up.
Yeah.
Like his brain is no longer a normal functioning brain. And
No.
sad to see being one of the greatest fucking wide receivers to ever play.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we'll see obviously in the coming weeks in this off season kind of how that all shakes out, who picks him up, does he get picked up? We will see. Is it my turn?
Yeah, onto the NBA.
Yeah, NBA then to the hardwood. On Wednesday nights, Kyrie Irving made his season debut with the Nets, putting up 22 points. Since then, there's been a lot of highlights, people talking good things about him, seen some takes from NBA analysts and fans calling Kyrie a top 3 point guard of all time. In your eyes, is he a top 3 point guard, and where do you put him on that list?
As far as overall playing the position of point guard, I'd put him in the top 5, not in the top 3. Magic, Chris Paul, Allen Iverson, Steph, Kyrie. That'd be probably the top 5. Like, he does it all. He's not just an offensive scorer, and that's why I'd maybe even keep Steph out of like just overall how you play the position, scoring aside, defense, positioning, how you play, all that. I'd put him that peg above Steph because he does play more defense, more assists. He's more of like a team-friendly guy instead of I know I can make this shot, so I'm going to take the shot type of deal. But he's an unbelievable point guard. I'd say top 5.
Yeah, I mean, I put him top 10. I think it's top 10 of how many hundreds, thousands of basketball players have come through the league over the years. I wouldn't put him in the top 3 though. I mean, my top 5 would be Magic, Curry, Stockton, Robertson. Well, 6 actually. Robertson, Oscar Robertson, Steve Nash, Chris Paul. And then I'd kind of start entertaining the idea of putting Kyrie in that conversation. Again.
Well, why do you have Oscar Robertson that high on the list? Just because he's won that many rings?
Yeah, I guess
because his stats aren't that good.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean that's more.
Because anybody can ride. Anybody can ride the bench for 11 championships.
Yeah, but you're part of 11 championship teams. Like, you know what I mean?
So then is he number one then?
No, that's why he's not number one for just because because of his stats, but due to his number of championships, like Tom Brady, people call him the GOAT. He has 7 rings. Arguably, a handful of them are due to his defense or other players, but people still consider him the GOAT because of his 7 rings.
Well, and he is the leading in passing yards and touchdowns.
But he's played for that long too.
Right, but I mean, like, to still be able to do put up those numbers is insane.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, like you said, Oscar Robertson's stats aren't great, through the roof, setting anything amazing. But again, just due to his number of championships, that's why I have him on this list. But again, like Kyrie, again, to be a top 10 point guard of all time, there are 30 point guards in the league right now, let alone the 75 years of the NBA. So to be considered in the top 10, I think is still high praise, but I think top 3 or top 5 is a little too high praise for him.
Sounds good. Do you think the Bucks need to make a move, or do you think their roster is now complete after the release of DeMarcus Cousins?
Yeah, I think at first I was like, why are they getting rid of him? He's actually doing pretty decent. They probably got him for somewhat cheap, just with being a vet and having his history of injuries and not being the most healthy guy. But at the same time, kind of forget about the fact that Brook Lopez is still expected to be back this season. After his back injury, they say, I mean, as early as a month, by the end of the regular season, they should get him back. I feel like they're just kind of looking for somebody to get them along, to kind of help them win games. See, I mean, again, I don't make we obviously don't make those decisions. So what they saw out of him apparently wasn't enough to keep him on the roster, but I think they're going to be fine. Again, a perfect example last year, the Bucks don't thrive being at the top of the East and being that 1 seed, being in that 2 to 4 range seems like it suits them well. And I think the roster that they have, with the guys that they will get back eventually, and the chemistry that they continue to build over the season, I think they're in a fine spot.
Yeah, outside of them signing, I need to find this guy's name again. They just signed a guy today.
Oh yeah, to a 10-day contract.
Langston Galloway.
Yep.
So whoever this guy is, clearly he's signed to a 10-day contract. He's going to come in and play some minutes. Tonight's a good test. I feel like if we can even stay above the top 7 seed in the East. We're struggling right now. Other teams are surging. We better find our ground before it's too late and we're in the play-in tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I think they need a total collapse to end up in the play-in, but
2 more losses and 2 more wins by the Cavs and Raptors.
And they'd be in the 7th spot.
They have 15 losses. Cavs have 17 and Raptors have 17. And they're 7th. Raptors.
Yeah, I mean,
and they have 5 games. They have 5 games in hand technically because of the COVID break.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not too concerned though, because I mean, we talk about them just about every episode. The Lakers, they were what, a 7 or 8 seed for a while, and it's like, oh, are they gonna slip? Are they even gonna make the play-in? And now they're the 4th or 5th spot, and they're surging. So in the 82 game season, you're going to have your ups and downs. Hopefully this is kind of their last bad streak before they turn things up, but
I freaking hope so.
yeah.
So they got some games coming up here that they can get made look a fool. This next stretch that they have is tough. All the way till February 26th. They pretty much have a tough run. over a month of tough games every night.
Yeah. Till the end. Yeah. Looking at till the end of the month, the only 2 games I could say, okay, those could be wins: Hawks, Nuggets. Aside from that, they play the Knicks, Cavs, Bulls. I'd say the Kings too could be an easier win, just because they don't really play defense. Grizzlies are good. Raptors just beat them a couple nights ago. Warriors, Hornets are one of the top scoring offenses in the league. They play the Nets tonight. So yeah, through the end of the month, there's only 2 or 3 games that I would throw money on that they'd win.
Yeah, then even if you extend that, they play the Thunder one more time, the Hawks, the Kings. So that's 3 more at max that are game. Oh, and then they play the Pistons.
But they lost
for the end. Exactly. So that's really four games that they pretty much have guaranteed wins for the rest of the year. Like, this team could be in a tough position where we're at right now.
Yeah. But at the same time, if they blow through this, go on a 10-game win streak.
The East is the East, not the West.
Yeah.
Like, if we played in the West, I would have no concern.
Yeah.
But because we are in the East and there's so many teams that are putting it together, like Toronto, 4-game winning streak, 76ers, 5-game heater. Like, there's teams that are going, and we're kind of stuck.
Mm-hmm. I guess talking about teams on streaks, on the bad side of a streak, a short one at that, the Warriors have lost 2 straight, and Steph Curry has now shot for just 21 total points and 19.2% from the field in his last 2 games. Are you concerned for the Warriors, or did they just finally hit their first shit streak of the season?
I think this is cause for concern. Clay's about to be coming back. Andrew Wiggins is stepping up, taking more of a role. His shots are way more meaningful, and when he can't make it like he normally does, I feel like this streak is going to linger. They lost to the Pelicans, for Christ's sakes. The Pelicans. That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And for them to be considered one of the best teams in the no. I'm sorry, you're not. Like, after that loss to the Pelicans, you're no longer in the conversation with the Suns and the Jazz as far as Western Conference.
Yeah. I mean,
shit, even the Grizzlies, goddamn, they've been playing so good, dude.
Yeah, ever since we talked about them that one episode.
Literally, we gave them a bump.
Yeah.
And they've been hot as shit since. I don't think they've lost since.
Yeah, I think you're right, honestly.
They're on a 7-game win.
Yeah, so then, the last time we talked about them, they haven't lost. But yeah, I mean, in that loss to the Pelicans, I mean, regardless of who you put out there, again, you're the Warriors, you're 29-9, you should be able to win that game easily. They were without Curry, but again, Curry should streak from the field. Even if he had played, would it have made a difference? So who knows? But yeah, I'm concerned as well for the Warriors right now.
Just look at the scores of the good teams that beat them. Like, just for the last couple, Bucks beat them by 23, Suns beat them by 13, Jazz beat them by 11. Those are over 10 points is a solid win. And look at they could even muster up that, like, goddamn, dude.
Yeah. Even their second to last game on Wednesday, I'm pulling it up just to make sure.
And then going back to the Bucks too, like, the reason why I'm still concerned for the Bucks as well, like, before this, they've lost to the Pelicans already earlier this year in overtime. And it's just like, you can't give those games away against teams without their best player, clearly, and you're the reigning
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, the game I was looking at, they're actually one of the better defenses, but the Warriors lost to the Mavericks 99-82. How do you put up 82 points in the NBA?
When you're supposed to have the greatest shooter of all time.
Yeah.
He should have 40 himself.
Yeah, and in that game, what was that? Yeah, he had 14. Went 5 for 24 from the field, 1 for 9 from 3 in
You're
that
going to
game.
shoot your team to a loss, which he did. You shoot the ball 24 times and you make it 5. Your team's losing.
Yeah.
Your team only usually gets between 80 and 90 shots. If you're taking 25, that's over a quarter of your team's shots, and you make 5.
Yeah.
You can't win that way. And that's why I put the Warriors down in the middle class of that Western Conference, the middle tier, because when it comes to it, their defense isn't up to par. Like, they have to shoot themselves to win games. Like, they can't rely on their defense to win. Suns, Jazz, Grizzlies, all can. They all have the defense. They don't rely on their offense scoring 150 points.
Yeah.
They do it as a team.
I mean, there's like you were saying, there's definitely cause for concern, I guess, to where I'd say, okay, they're really fucked. Clay is supposed to make his return I believe Sunday against the Cavaliers. Yep. Sunday against the Cavaliers. Clay is supposed to make his return against a really good Cavs team, again, who's surging up in the East, plays really good defense. In Clay's return, if they shit the bed, that's where I'm like, okay, this Warriors team is really fucked. Like, they're lucky to be at 29-9 right now, to where they can avoid a week and a half of shit streak, to where it's not going to like get them out of the playoffs, because what are they? They're still tied.
Oh, dude, they're 10 games. They have 10 games before they'd be in the 6th spot.
Yeah, so that, like I said, like, there's cause for concern, but they'd have to go on a month shit streak of.
But if the streak goes another 5 games, let's say they ride it to 7, look at the teams all around them. Winning streak of 3, winning streak of 2, winning streak of 7, winning streak of 4, winning streak of 3. They could be right in that 6th spot if this streak goes.
Because again, in that 6th spot right now sits the Lakers. Again, the Warriors have a 8.5 game lead over them right now. Lakers are on a heater. They're starting to figure things out. So after the Lakers, Denver, Clippers, Minnesota, that's where it falls off.
After the Lakers is where you can drop the contenders in the West.
Yeah. But again, there's a big difference between being the 2 seed and being the 6 seed, because rather than home court advantage, you're playing on the road come playoff time.
Yep. Then my last question, do you think that we see a different team in the finals besides who we've seen the last 2 years? Warriors, Suns, Bucks, Nets. I guess I'm not going to include the Lakers in that conversation because I wanted 2 from each conference.
Like the conference finals, you mean?
No, I'm saying finals in general. Do we see a different team besides
the Nets Warriors, haven't been in the finals? So that's why I'm asking.
I'm saying, do we see a different team in the finals besides these 4 teams? Warriors, Suns, Bucks, or Nets? Does any other team make it to the finals besides those 4?
Again, gonna keep giving them praise. Let's see if they keep riding with it. Grizzlies. I'm high on that. I'm riding that Grizzlies train right now. I can see them for sure being in that Western Conference Finals. If they keep rolling the way they are, I think they could be a dark horse out of the West this year. So, again, hopefully it didn't jinx them. Hopefully they keep rolling. But yeah, I'm gonna say Grizzlies. I'd add to that conversation.
Yeah, I would also add in the Chicago Bulls and the Miami Heat as well in that conversation. Those are also 2 other teams that I feel like any given night, if they're rolling full strength, they could beat any team in a 7-game series, not just 1 game.
Yeah. I mean, it's starting to get again with the Warriors slipping, teams surging, both conferences.
The East is so tight, dude.
Yeah.
Literally from 1st to 12th is a 9-game difference. And you have a 9-game spread between 1 and 5 in the West. Like, to get to the same 12 is 15 and a half games. Like, that's so many games.
Yeah, that's a whole month of basketball.
9 is a week and a half.
Yeah.
You could have 1 week and bad week and a half, and you could be done, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, just in like NBA, NFL, both are really fun to watch this year. As far as it's anybody's game right now coming down the stretch. I mean, NBA still has a longer way to go than the NFL, but just in general this year, it's been a really good year of sports. Moving over then to the ice in the NHL. My first question here for you: if you had the money to start your own NHL franchise, what city would you want your team to be based in?
And is this like following the NHL's like protocols of like what they require out of a city, or is this like fantasy land? I could pick any city I want.
Fantasy land, you got endless pockets to if you need to add hotels, commodities in a city to meet the criteria of adding an NHL franchise. What city? Within reason. Like I'm not saying like Stevens Point, Wisconsin, let's throw a team there because endless money, you can make it anywhere, but like it has to be a city of at least, I'd say, 1 million people or 500,000 people that you're kind of basing it off of.
Yeah, I was going to pick a smaller town. I was going to say, just as far as my personal experience, I'd say somewhere in Oregon, Portland. Actually, no, I'd go even Southern Oregon more. I'd say like Medford, Oregon, one of the bigger cities in the southern part. I feel like putting an NHL team there, obviously why Seattle is doing so good. There's nothing out. There's no really sports teams out there. And everybody is bonkers about sports out there. Like you would have the most insane, wild fan base. Teams would hate to come out there to play. So I'd pick a spot out there where you could literally get the whole Friday Night Lights type of atmosphere. Town shuts down, everybody's at the game. Shit's wild. I would definitely pick somewhere out in the Northwest, Pacific Northwest.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I guess another one to add to that would be like again a very big hockey hotspot in the country, maybe like Fargo, North Dakota. Again, you wouldn't have you probably wouldn't fill the arena just because of not having enough people, but
Sub-zero freezing temperatures too.
yeah. I don't know. I mean, just that part of the country really needs a boost in sports, but again, there's not money to be made there for that reason. But
well, and that's why their college hockey team is what their facility is unbelievable. I mean, I was there when I was probably 8, 9, 10 years old. I don't even remember the exact age that I was, but they had NHL level equipment, training facilities, you name it. And they're always relevant when it comes to college hockey. Granted, they don't have a women's team anymore, which is really sad. But their men's team basically has to put on the show, and they have one of the most amazing barns of all time. It would work as far as like having like a ravaged fan base like that, but as far as like bringing in people, like opposing teams, stuff like that, they're gonna be like, oh, we're in the middle of fucking North Dakota. You know what I mean? We're at the Pacific. You got the beach. But I totally get it though. You'd have psycho fans there for sure.
yeah.
And to my first question for you here, do you think the Pittsburgh Penguins end up in the top 3 of the Metro Division? So a for sure spot in the playoffs, not wild card, by the end of the season. Currently running a 10-game heater, and they're just about to hit. Well, last night was their first of their 6-game road stretch that they got. They got the West Coast tour coming up here. So, yeah, do you see them continuing to keep climbing as their trip starts? Well, it started in Philly last night, but they play Dallas tomorrow. Is their next one?
Yeah, I think that they end up in the top 3. I mean, the two teams I think that are going to be there with him, Washington, Carolina. Rangers right now, lost last time out. Of the top four teams in the Metro, have the worst record in their last 10, 5-4-1. I think that Pittsburgh ends up in that top three with Carolina and Washington. I mean, I think Rangers could end up still with a wild card spot, but yeah, I'm going to say that's going to be the top three in the Metro this year.
Yeah,
Capitals, Hurricanes, Penguins, top three in the Metro.
Sounds good. Yeah, the Rangers got slapped last night by Vegas. I'm going to agree, except for I'm actually going to yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I think it's going to be Caps, Hurricanes, Penguins, Rangers, I think are a wild card team. But it's all this year's like we've said multiple times is a year of has who available and ready to play. So I just look at my Flyers team last night. Literally, so many people I fucking couldn't even tell you who they are. Thought they had a chance. They give up 3 goals in the first minute and 30 seconds. It's like, sweet. Coming back, 3-2, it's 3-2. What happens? They give up 3 goals in another minute and 30 seconds. It's just like your team can't sustain that, having all of your top players out. Top 2 defensemen. One just played. We made a yard sale trade for a guy. He plays 4 games on the season. Has been out since. Top defenseman Ivan Provorov. He's been out. You lose your captain. You lose your assistant captain. Our team is in shambles right now. Kevin Hayes, everything that he's gone through, came back early from a core surgery. He left the game early last night. Looks like he's going to maybe have to get another surgery, a little touch-up. He's going to miss some time. It's like they don't have a choice. Have you ever heard of these kids? Connor Bunneman, Max Willman, Zach McEwen, Igor Zamula. Haven't heard of any of these fucking guys.
No.
And yeah, just a sad year for the Flyers. I think I'm already waving the flag.
Hey, right there with you. Sorry, Kraken. Yeah, it kind of the same boat again. Brandon Tanev out with an ACL injury. They've had their last 3 games postponed. The next stretch of hockey: Avalanche, Stars, Blues. They're already on a 5-game shitter. Why not make it 8, guys? Yeah, it's been rough. So again, not high expectations for the Kraken, but nonetheless, high expectations or not, it's always rough to watch a team that you follow not have a very good year.
Yeah.
And my last hockey question here for you, kind of following up again with your newly founded NHL team in Medford, Oregon. What player are you choosing that is playing right now that you would build your team around?
No question about it. It's the kid, the walking ATM machine. This fucking guy's made everybody who's played with him millions of dollars. This guy's the ultimate teammate, ultimate player, does everything that you could ever ask for a guy to do. Sid, no questions asked.
Yeah, that's kind of immediately when I came up with this question, that was the first thing that came to my head. But thinking of long term, kind of a young stud right now, another guy that again, it's a gamble. You never know what you're going to get out of him for the next 10, 20 years. Kirill Kaprizov, I think, would be another decent guy to build around after the rookie season he had. Again, while they're on a little bit of a tough streak right now, but nonetheless, I'm kind of leaning towards the side of young talent, because right now, as it currently stands, who knows how many years Crosby has left. Kaprizov has definitely more shelf life right now. So, yeah, between those two, yeah, that's kind of where I'd lean building a team around.
Sounds good. Yeah, he'd be a great player to build a team around, young guy. Then my last question for you, since we brought this up before, you saying Vegas is going to be on the top spot, especially when Eichel makes his return. However, how do you think the Golden Knights will make room for Jack Eichel to return, as they're currently sitting $10.7 million over the salary cap? And they also still have defenseman Alec Martinez, $5.25 million on long-term injury reserve.
That's tough. I mean, no brainer. You got to keep Marchessault and Stone. Like Marchessault, Stone, Eichel. Like those are three guys that, all right, we got to keep them no matter what. After that, I mean, there's not a whole lot of guys. I mean, Pietrangelo, kind of looking at their roster here, another guy you kind of want to keep. After that, I mean, the roster is a very long list to where I'm sure they could figure it out. So I don't know exactly who you get rid of, how you make room. But if there's guys that, again, we got to keep these guys: Marchessault, Stone, Pietrangelo, Eichel. Those are the four guys you got to make room for. The rest of it, there's such young, good talent in the league. I'm sure they can figure it out.
Yeah, see the position that they're in right now. They're going to have to get rid of somebody like Riley Smith, Jonathan Marchessault. They're going to have to get rid of one of those guys because of the average annual value that these guys carry towards the cap. They're both slated at $5 million. They also have a winger, Evgeny Dodonov, who's a younger kid, also making $5 million, and you have to clear 10.7. So I feel like we're going to see either Riley Smith, Jonathan Marchessault, Dodonov, two of the three, all three of them, I could all see them moving. Marchessault has an 8-team no trade clause, so that's going to be a little bit difficult. And Dodonov has a 10-team list, a no trade. So that's only going to be the tricky part. But Smith already is going to become an unrestricted free agent after the season's over, so he has no protection. He's 30 years old. I mean, I'd see he would probably be the guy that they lean over getting rid of than Dodonov, just going off of age. Like, you got to keep your young bucks. Dodonov, they wasted a draft pick on when they fucking had the team. Like, this kid's he's a great player. So I feel like Smith and Marchessault, we could both see go.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough decision. Obviously, best case scenario, you kind of keep those guys, but yeah, it makes sense where you'd have to clean house on 8 to 10 guys down the list otherwise, to make room, but makes it easier, but also makes it harder just to get rid of one of your top guys that are carrying that, again, $3 to $5 million range.
Well, and Eichel, he's 25 years old too. You know, it's like if you get rid of a 30-year, you're saving yourself 5 years.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
And all the potential that Eichel, the superstar, is. Like, I feel like there's a lot more, no matter who they get rid of. Yeah, Marchessault fans will probably be really pissed. He's a huge fan favorite, does a lot for their team, but also at the same time, you're getting Jack Eichel, and if he steps in and performs how everybody knows he can, people forget John who? Yeah, they're going to forget about March. So I feel like this team is in a great position. Obviously, if he's healthy, he can come back and play. But however, he could really handicap that team if they do make a couple moves. Those players go on to light it up wherever they go. And Eichel's an average player. Like, he's going to have to be a superstar, like top 10 in points for this whole debacle of what they're doing / did for it to even work out.
And it's tough being a new team in the league to where you can pick and choose all these guys. Oh, we want that guy who's good. Like, but then it comes a time to where you're stuck in a situation like this of shit. We got all these good guys, but we can't pay all of them.
Yep. Why salary cap? It makes sports so much more fun. and equally as competitive because, unless you get in a situation like the Penguins have, where the Boston Bruins, where you have a lot of these superstars who could, I'm taking the max. Like you see in basketball, I'm taking the max, I'm taking the max, I'm taking the max. Where these guys are just like, shit, if I take the max, my line mate can't be on my team anymore that I absolutely love. Okay, I'll take this, you take this, you take this. We're all going to, like, everybody takes way less than what they are getting unless you're a Cale McCarr, a Connor McDavid, a Sidney Crosby. You're one of one are the guys who get paid big. Otherwise, you're playing for a discount no matter who you are.
And that's the thing too. Like, as important as it is to have the best guys on the ice and the best coach on the other side of the wall guiding those guys in the right direction, the most successful franchises, I mean, in hockey or any sports, your front office of the guys that can crunch the numbers and try to figure these things out, have equally as big of a part in the organization as the guys who are in the X's and O's. Because when you get into situations like this, do you fold? Do you have to get rid of guys, or do they find a way to keep them? Which is like, holy shit, they managed to find a way to keep all these guys, and then they go win a Stanley Cup. So it's like, hats off to the front office. But again, do they have the brain power to be able to do it?
Yeah, like look at Tampa. Look what they've been able, and they're in the same position again to have potential for 3 straight in a row, to do it again.
Yeah.
Salary cap gymnastics. And when you do that, just like Tampa Bucks did with how they re-signed everybody will play for cheaper if you know that you're on a team that has a chance to go win. Like you'll take that discount to know that you're on a team that can compete and contend for it. So
for sure.
Those teams know how to finagle and do all that salary cap gymnastics. But yeah, they have the teams who are there to win and not for the money.
Yeah. Yeah, sounds good. Then moving over into our other category, heading over to the links. What is your dream golf course to go shoot 18 at?
TPC Sawgrass.
That was fast.
Yep. That's my number one place that I'd love to go shoot around.
Yeah, I mean, any of these courses on the tour would just like be jaw dropping to take one shot on, let alone shoot around on.
Take that bet. Augusta.
That's what I was gonna say. That's what I'm leaning towards. Was it 16?
I was gonna say, is this also by is this by yourself, or is this like?
It's like the NHL questions.
Like if you were entering, you got endless pockets. PGA tournament.
Golf a tournament at, go golfing with a buddy at, go by yourself, whatever scenario you want.
Yeah, probably the Masters then, just to get that experience of the drive-in, the whole, like, every legend who's ever picked up a goddamn club has been on this course and golfed on this.
Yeah.
I'd say the Masters, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Or what's that freaking course over the British Open? Which one? St. Andrews.
St. Andrews.
I think that'd be badass too, because that's the same circumstance, except for you get to go back to the beginning of golf.
And deal with gale force hurricane winds.
While wearing a kilt, getting pelted in the head by hail, 90-mile-per-hour winds. 700-yard par fives.
Yeah, something about, again, that was it 16 or 17 at Augusta, the historic par 3 over the pond. Just to sit there with a bucket of balls on that and just try to get it within a foot of the hole would just be a dream of mine. With the
Which one?
16 or 17 with a par 3 over the pond. With
like the island green?
With the pin placements, the Sunday pin placement at the bottom of the green.
Are you talking about the island? Like the island green?
I don't think it's an island, but it's over the pond.
Okay.
It has where the green is like hill, and then it
goes off to the right, and then
I think that's in our intro. Tigers 16. Yeah, Tigers chip shot in where it comes all the way back around. I think that's
16.
yeah.
Because TPC Sawgrass 17 is the island.
Oh, okay. Yeah, someday.
Yeah, who knows? Then my last question for you. Do you think the Badgers superstar college basketball, for those of you, Wisconsin Badgers superstar, what's his name? Something Davis.
Oh, Davis. Shoot, what is his first name?
Come on, dude. Why?
Johnny Davis.
Johnny Davis. Do you think he's a one and done, or do you think he returns and plays his career out for the Badgers?
I think he stays just because of look at what Brad Davidson did. Again, probably I don't know if he would have made it to the NBA had he not used his COVID year to come back for one more season. But just the chemistry that this team is built, I could see Johnny Davis kind of taking on that Brad Davidson role, sticking around all 4 years because Johnny Davis is a sophomore, so he could stick around for 2 more years. I don't know. I really like this Wisconsin team. Again, sitting at 12-2, kind of getting overlooked this year, which again is good. I feel like for Wisconsin sports, football or basketball, anytime they're in the spotlight, they crumble and fall down. So sitting at 23 right now, again, kind of outside the big lights. Nobody's really talking about him a whole lot. I think he sticks around all 4 years and tries to get the Badgers back to the Final Four.
Yeah, I see him being a top draft pick. I see him gone, dude. And which is pretty sick. Yeah. This kid's unreal, dude. This kid's unreal. He literally takes games over. And look at the bright moments. Look at what he did against Purdue, 37-14. That's takeover. Last night, 26-9-5. Like, he almost had another double-double. Like, this kid is literally unreal. And, like, he scored 30 points earlier in the season versus number 12, Houston. Like, this guy is for real. And I feel like he could be the best Badger basketball player to go on and do something. Like, his talents are just he can shoot, dunk, he does it all. Where the past Badgers who have Decker, he's just a big power forward, like not really like a crazy game changer. Kaminsky center, backup, this Davis, he's so good. Like, he's the best Badger basketball player I think I've ever watched. And he's only a sophomore, so think of how good he can get.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, again, depending on how their season goes, I say if they make it to the Elite Eight, but not the Final Four, I could see him coming back to where they're like, we're this close. If we get the right guys back, we can go the distance. If they make an early tournament exit, then I'd entertain the idea of him being gone next year. Just because, again, you have so many guys that come back when either they make it to a Final Four, make it to a national championship, and they come up short just by a little bit. Look at Gonzaga. They had so many guys come back because they're like, we're this close. We had nearly a perfect season. Obviously, the perfect season no longer on the table for them this year. But again, when you get that close and you build that chemistry with those kind of guys, you get a lot of them to come back despite their talent that they know they can get to the next level.
Yeah, and they do only have 2 seniors, so I guess that could incline them depending how deep they do go. You're losing 2 guys.
Yeah.
At for sure. So, yeah. Good deal.
Yeah. Well, then wrapping up our episode here, just kind of a quick circle back to the national championship going on Monday. Again, Monday's episode will be out after the national championship takes place. So I know it was either last episode or Monday's episode. We were both kind of standing in the corner of Alabama. Is that still where you sit? Again, Georgia, currently 2.5-point favorites in the national championship. I'm going to check that for sure. 2 points now for Georgia. Are you still with Alabama? What is your score prediction?
I'm going to say go Dogs, 31-28.
Oh, he's switching it up.
I originally picked Georgia, but then after thinking about it, I let my head get in the way. Had a chance to sleep on it, look at some numbers, look at some things. Go Dogs.
All right, I'm going to stick with my guns and, again, make it fun. I'm sticking with Alabama. You don't bet against Tom Brady, Nick Saban, or Bill Belichick. I'm going to say 35-30. Roll Tide. All right, write this down. What'd you say again? For your score? 31-20.
31-28.
31-28. Dogs.
Yep, they got the best kicker in college football. Dude's going to nail a field goal to win.
Sounds good.
All right, well, sounds good, everyone. Hope everybody has a great weekend, and we'll be back on Monday.
Have a great weekend.